Hey, so I had just watched the fifth season, well, first two episodes of the fifth season of Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, and I'm a big fan since day one. The pilot was fucked up, to say the least, and so yeah, I was intrigued. And like, needless to say, the cast is incredible. Some of the best performances given on a in a television series. Um, Elizabeth Moss is great, and the rest of the cast is incredible too. And Dowd, um, uh, yeah, all of them. But anyway, so the first two episodes of this season. Now, Elizabeth Moss did direct the second one, and she is a rather good director as well. Or just a very good director. And honestly, um, her being free from Gilead is a nice change. And honestly, it's interesting to see how even though she's free, she's mentally still held captive in Gilead from her PTSD, and it's very well developed how they went about displaying her struggles and everything, and the characters are so well developed, like it's unreal. It feels like like a reality show, and in many cases it is reality around the world in different countries, unfortunately. And the author had also was inspired by horrific events of history, such as the Holocaust and what have you. And anyway, June has taken a turn for the worst, since the events of season four. She was already losing sight of reality anyway, since the pilot of the first season. And her killing Fred was honestly the last straw, to tip her over the edge. And you can definitely see that, her performance is flawless as usual, and she just does a great job at presenting that, what her character is going through. And everyone around her, like Luke and Moira, they're all just like, "What? Who is this woman?" Like, of course, she's unrecognizable, which is, you know, understandable. Um, but yeah, like, I feel like we're in a new territory, not only atmospherically speaking, but as far as how far these characters have come since the first four seasons. And one part that really stood out to me not only was obviously Fred's corpse. It wasn't as battered as I thought it'd be, but it was really great to see Serena in fear for once, because she's always rising on top, and we'll get back to that later. She's always finding things to use to her advantage, and she does so in the second episode of the season, where she's going to Fred's funeral and made to look like, oh, woe with me, bullshit, and then uses Hannah, Joan's daughter, as bait, pretty much, or to, kind of speak to her as a way of saying, if my baby's safe, so is yours, like how she had said to her before in the past. And, it's a scary thought that she's not wearing pink. Her outfit was, I think, blue. So she could ultimately become a wife already, which is horrible. But I'm sure June is going to do the best, to get Hannah out of the Gilead, which is exciting. And Luke saw it too. And it's very tense, to say the least. And honestly, I also feel like uh, the uh, the last scene in episode 2, if you notice the ballet scene, well, I think was foreshadowing the girl in the box from season 1, where Serena Joy gives June this joy box with a little ballerina dancing inside of it. I don't know if it's meant to foreshadow or have any specific meaning, but because we didn't see any flashbacks during that scene, like I made June think of it, her past. Um, but I guess it's for the audience to decide, which I like that. Some subtlety is nice. Um, and it stood out to me because I recently just watched season 1 again. Um, and the ballerina is also wearing blue. Um, but I don't know the significance of that scene. However, um, again, the shows is so unpredictable, which makes it great because most shows are, um, and it's a lot of fun. Which sounds weird to say because how fucked up it is and how depressing it can be, but it's just because of how true it is, to civilization in a way, and how the morals here and there, like no matter what you go through, you can always rise above it and become a stronger person, and that is true in many cases. And June, even though she's in the process of rising above all that she's been through, she's still struggling, and in some cases have made her questionable as a character and had turned some fans against her. And that's really brave to do for a show. So bravo to the writers and the crew, um, for just sticking to the truth of it, even if it means losing some fans or popularity. But that's why this show is so strong, because it doesn't tiptoe or walk on eggshells for anyone. It's just telling the story in a realistic way, and again, the cast only further improves that. Um, and I think that June may have done some wrong, you know, in the previous season 4, um, like with Luke, speaking of, and also, pointing a gun at one of the children of Gilead. Um, she's she's losing sight of reality, and it's really sad, but she's strong, and I think that she'll snap out of it at least to focus on what is really important, which is Hannah, and also getting back to her somewhat of some civil some sibilance of a life, or what I'm saying. But yeah, but yeah, this uh season is gonna be really good. I'm excited to see what's yet to come. Um, I thought this would be the last season, but there's also going to be a sixth season, which will be the finale, and then they might also go into the Testaments, like the spinoff series, which I hope, because I think this story is coming to a close, honestly, with June, and you know, again, it's uncertain and unpredictable of what's going to happen exactly. Um, but if you know the Testaments, that um, it won't really go as we all want, but again, that's life, and this show does a great job at developing that truth, and that life doesn't always go as planned. And I think that this show has a powerful meaning behind it for a lot of people because it's so honest, and the writers, not only the directing, but the story and the like the performances, are great, but they all really work well together, you know. And it's honestly one of my favorite shows out there, despite it being so dark. But I like dark stuff. um, but yeah, so I'd like to know what you think. Let me know, and we'll talk more about it in the comment section. Um, but yeah, the cinematography is great. It's beautiful. You know, the soundtrack is good. It's one of the few things that make this, that give this series some much needed relief of more lightheartedness, I guess, because there isn't really any of it in here. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts of the series and the, you know, the 2 episodes that we've seen so far. But that's it for now. I'll see y'all later, and under his eye.